You ever notice something strange? Everywhere you look, people are chasing happiness like it's some hidden treasure waiting at the end of a rainbow. We scroll endlessly through our feeds, hunting for proof that anyone has figured it out. That perfect moment, that perfect life, that perfect feeling. But here's the thing, most people never realize happiness isn't something you find, it's something you build every single day through your choices, your mindset, and your courage to show up for yourself, even when life gets hard. The truth is, we've been sold a lie about happiness. We've been taught that it's a destination, that once we get the promotion, find the right relationship, lose the weight, or achieve our goals, then we'll finally be happy. But that's not how it works, because there will always be another goal, another milestone, another thing to chase. And if your happiness depends on external circumstances, you'll spend your entire life waiting. Maybe right now you're overwhelmed the pressure to succeed, to prove yourself, to have your life figured out before it even begins to make sense. Maybe work feels suffocating, or your relationships feel stretched thin. Maybe you're looking at your own reflection, wondering why, after everything you've achieved, happiness still feels like a stranger. We've all been there too, and there is a way forward, and it starts with understanding what happiness really is. In today's video, we'll explore what real happiness actually means, the daily habits that create lasting inner peace, how to turn pain into growth, and the mindset shifts that can transform your entire life. We'll dig into the science behind emotional resilience, share practical steps you can start using today, and by the end, you'll have a clear roadmap for building happiness that doesn't crumble when life gets tough. The power of intentional mornings. Tomorrow morning, when your eyes first open, you're standing at a crossroads. One path leads to chaos, distraction, and reactivity. The other to clarity, intention, and control. Most people never realize how crucial that moment is. But the truth is this, the first 30 minutes after you wake up can determine the emotional tone of your entire day. Think about how most mornings begin. The alarm goes off, you reach for your phone, notifications, messages, emails, the noise of the world rushes in before your mind has even taken a breath. Within seconds, you've surrendered your peace to someone else's agenda. But here's the secret, your mornings are sacred. They are the foundation of your day, the forge where your mindset is molded. You can either plant seeds of peace or weeds of panic. The choice is always yours. When you start your day by reacting, you're already behind. But when you start your day by grounding yourself, by deciding who you want to be before the world tells you who to become, you win every single time. The great thinkers, leaders, and visionaries of history all had one thing in common: intentional mornings. They didn't stumble into their day. They designed it. They understood that victory begins not with action, but with awareness. So tomorrow, before you grab your phone, before you let the outside world flood your inner world, take 5 minutes for yourself. 5 minutes, that could shift the trajectory of your entire life. Ask yourself 3 simple, powerful questions. What can I be grateful for right now? What one thing can I do today that will move my life forward? And how do I want to show up in the world today? These aren't just feel-good affirmations. They are mental switches. They activate your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for decision-making, focus, and emotional regulation. You are literally programming your mind for resilience, clarity, and purpose, and science backs this up. Studies on neuroplasticity from institutions like Duke and Harvard show that your thoughts create physical changes in your brain. Every time you practice gratitude, focus, or self-control, you strengthen the neural pathways that make peace and happiness your default settings. You're not trying to be positive, you're training yourself to become powerful. But mastering your morning mind isn't about ignoring reality or pretending life will always go smoothly. It's about preparation. It's the mental equivalent of sharpening your sword before stepping into battle. You remind yourself, challenges will come today. People might disappoint me, plans might fall apart, but I will not be thrown off course. That is power, that is emotional leadership. Because here's what most people never understand. Happiness doesn't begin when everything goes right. Happiness begins when you refuse to let things that go wrong dictate your state of mind. Imagine this. 2 people face the same setback, a lost opportunity, a rude comment, a bad morning. One spirals into frustration, the other takes a deep breath, resets, and moves forward. The difference isn't luck, it's training. Every morning, you master your mind, you build emotional muscle, and over time, that muscle becomes unshakable. Now here's something that might sound simple but will transform your life. Gratitude. Most people think gratitude is just about saying thank you, but real gratitude, the kind that rewires your brain and shifts your entire emotional state, is much deeper than that. Gratitude is a practice, it's a discipline, it's training your mind to notice what's working instead of what's broken, to see what you have instead of what you lack. And when you do this every single day, something remarkable happens. Your brain literally changes. Research from Harvard and UCLA shows that practicing gratitude activates the brain's reward pathways, increasing dopamine and serotonin, the same neurotransmitters that antidepressants target. People who practice daily gratitude report better sleep, stronger relationships, and significantly lower levels of anxiety and depression. But here's the key: gratitude works best when it's specific. Vague thankfulness doesn't have the same impact as concrete, detailed appreciation. Instead of saying, I'm grateful for my family, try, I'm grateful that my sister called yesterday just to check in and we laughed together for 20 minutes. Instead of, I'm grateful for my health, try, I'm grateful that my body allowed me to go for a walk this morning and feel the sunshine on my face. The specificity matters because it forces your brain to relive positive experiences, and when you relive them, you reinforce the neural pathways associated with joy, connection, and peace. You're literally teaching your brain to look for good things, and what your brain looks for, it finds. Start small tonight before you go to sleep. Write down 3 specific things you're grateful for. Tomorrow morning, read them again and notice how it shifts your emotional state. Do this for 30 days and you'll notice something incredible. You won't just feel happier, you'll become someone who creates happiness wherever you go, because gratitude isn't just an emotion, it's a superpower. And if you're starting to see how these practices connect, let us know in the comments what's one thing you're grateful for right now. Let's talk about something nobody wants to face, but everyone experiences: pain, loss, failure, heartbreak, disappointment. These things are inevitable, they're part of being human. But here's what separates people who thrive from people who merely survive. It's not that they avoid pain, it's that they've learned how to transform it. Think about this for a moment. Some of the strongest people you know aren't strong because life was easy for them. They're strong because life was hard and they chose to grow through it instead of being destroyed by it. Pain, when handled with awareness and intention, becomes your greatest teacher. It shows you what matters. It reveals your hidden strengths. It forces you to dig deeper than you ever thought possible. The mistake most people make is they try to avoid pain at all costs. They numb it, distract themselves from it, or pretend it doesn't exist. But pain that isn't processed doesn't disappear. It just goes underground and eventually it surfaces in other ways. Anxiety, depression, anger, resentment. The key is not to avoid pain, but to face it with courage and curiosity. Here's a 3-step process for transforming pain into purpose. First, acknowledge it without judgment. When something hurts, don't immediately try to fix it or make it go away. Just say to yourself, this is real, this hurts, but it will not define me. You acknowledge it without letting it consume you. That's the first step to reclaiming your power. Then separate what you can control from what you can't. You can't control what happened, but you can control what happens next. You can choose your focus, you can choose your effort, you can choose the meaning you give to this experience, and that's where your power lives. Finally, ask the question that transforms pain into purpose. How can I use this? How can I use this loss to grow? Deeper roots of gratitude. How can I use this failure to sharpen my focus? How can I use this heartbreak to strengthen my capacity to love? But when you begin to live this way, life stops happening to you and starts happening for you. You no longer see obstacles as punishment, you see them as preparation. And the beauty of this mindset is that every challenge you conquer makes you stronger for the next one. It builds what psychologists call post-traumatic growth. The ability to not just recover from difficulty, but to become better because of it. Look at the world's strongest trees. Their roots grew deep not because of gentle breezes, but because of storms. The same is true for you. Every difficulty is an invitation to dig deeper into your own potential. So the next time pain comes, and it will, don't shrink, don't hide face it, ask it what it came to teach you, turn it into your fuel, because one day you'll look back and realize that the moments you thought were breaking you were actually building you. Now let's be honest, most of your stress doesn't come from what's actually happening, it comes from your desperate need to control what's not. You try to manage every outcome, fix every person, and predict every twist life might take, and when it doesn't go your way, you break a little inside. But here's the truth, you were never meant to control everything, you were meant to master yourself. That's where real freedom begins. Right now, as you listen, you might be holding on to something, a grudge, an outcome, a fear of what might go wrong. You're replaying conversations in your head, worrying about the future, regretting the past. But think about this, has any of that ever changed reality, or has it just drained your energy, your peace, your joy? The mind becomes a storm when it tries to command the uncontrollable. But when you release that grip, something miraculous happens. Calm returns perspective, sharpens your energy flows where it actually matters. Imagine this, you're stuck in traffic late for a meeting, the clock ticking, your pulse racing, you can't move the cars, you can't change the lights, you can't bend time. But what can you control? Your breath, your thoughts, your choice to use that time instead of letting it use you. You can reflect, breathe, listen, reset. That's not weakness, that's power. Because peace isn't found in controlling everything, it's found in no longer needing to. When you stop trying to control what's beyond your reach, you rediscover your strength, you focus on your own choices, your effort, your character. You stop demanding that life be easy and start learning to be unstoppable. This applies to people too. The moment you stop trying to control others, their moods, their decisions, their timelines, your relationships transform you. Begin to connect instead of control. You start to accept people for who they are, not who you wish they'd be. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging. You stop trying to force life to follow your plan and start trusting that even detours can lead you exactly where you're meant to be. When you finally learn to let go, you don't lose power, you gain it. Because the truth is, the only domain you ever truly had control over was your own inner state, your thoughts, your reactions, your choices. And when you take full responsibility for those, when you stop wasting energy on the uncontrollable, you become unstoppable. There's a quiet confidence that emerges when you accept this truth, a kind of peace that doesn't depend on perfect conditions. Research from Stanford shows that people who practice acceptance-based coping strategies experience significantly lower levels of anxiety and depression than those who resist reality. The end of resistance is the beginning of flow. The end of control is the beginning of freedom. Now, there's one more foundation that completes everything we've talked about, building your inner worth, because no matter how peaceful, grateful, or prepared you become, if you still believe your value depends on other people's opinions, you'll always be fragile. Listen closely. Your worth has nothing to do with your achievements, your income, your appearance, or your status. It doesn't rise and fall with praise or criticism. Your worth is inherent. It was never up for negotiation. Most people build their self-esteem like a house of cards, one wrong move, one mistake, one bad day, and it all collapses. But the truth is, your value is not built on outcomes. It's built on integrity, on who you are when no one's watching, on what you stand for. When no one agrees, the strongest people are not the loudest or the richest. They're the ones who can look in the mirror and say, even if I lose everything, I still have myself. And that's enough. When you live from that place, from inner worth that no storm can shake you, become unbreakable. Failure doesn't destroy you because you no longer tie your identity to it. Rejection doesn't define you because you've stopped needing external validation. Every time you remind yourself that your worth comes from within, you reclaim power from the world outside. That's the foundation of unshakable happiness, peace that can't be stolen, confidence that doesn't crumble. And when you combine this with intentional mornings, daily gratitude, the ability to transform pain, and the wisdom to let go, you create something extraordinary, a life of genuine, lasting happiness. So let's bring this all together with a simple daily practice you can start tomorrow. Number 1, morning intention. Before you check your phone, take 5 minutes to ask yourself, what am I grateful for? What's one thing I can do today to move forward, and how do I want to show up? Number 2, gratitude practice. Write down 3 specific things you're grateful for every night. Number 3, pain transformation. When something hurts, ask yourself, what is this teaching me? How can I use this to grow stronger? Number 4, release control. Identify one thing you're trying to control that's not yours to control and let it go. Number 5, affirm your worth. Remind yourself, my value is not conditional. My peace is not negotiable. My happiness is my responsibility. These 5 practices done consistently will transform your life. They're not complicated, but they are powerful. And the beautiful thing is they build on each other until happiness becomes not something you chase, but something you create, moment by moment. So your happiness isn't something that happens to you. It's something you create through daily choices and quiet moments of courage. You've learned how to master your morning mind, how to practice gratitude that rewires your brain, how to transform pain into purpose, how to let go of what you can't control, and how to build unshakable worth from within. Now it's time to put these into practice. Every day, remind yourself, my value is not conditional, my peace is not negotiable, my happiness is my responsibility. And when you live this truth, the world stops controlling you because you've taken back control of yourself. If these words have struck something inside you, hit that like button and share this with someone who needs it. Because we're not just creating content here, we're building a community of people who understand that happiness is a skill that can be learned and mastered. Don't wait for happiness to find you. Create it, protect it, live it. Remember, you are not fragile, you are forged. Every sunrise is a new chance to choose strength, and every choice is proof that happiness has always been in your hands. Now go build it every single day. Stay tuned.